Okay. So Umesha and Riska, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay. So today, the last lesson of our module 1 is child protection and welfare laws. Okay. So when we are talking about like child protection, what comes to your mind about child? What is child protection? Safety. One is safety and health. Okay. And when it comes to like child protection laws, what is that?
Child abuse or
So child protection laws in the sense a law created by our government which is used for our child protection, right? So welfare in the sense a person's overall well-being in the sense those physical, mental, emotional, those every welfare, this welfare. So welfare in the sense the overall of a well-being. Overall for well-being in the sense the physical, emotional, social, those everything are included. No. Yeah. So learning objectives will be understand child protection laws, explain mandatory reporting requirements, identify procedures for suspected abuse and neglect, understand the role of child care providers in safeguarding children. So, do you know what is like explain mandatory reporting requirements? What is mandatory reporting? What is mandatory?
police report
Mhm. Mandatory is something different. Yeah. Mandatory in the it's like compulsory. It has to be done. Like
rules and regulations something.
yeah. So கட்டாயமா அது நடக்கணும். Okay. So mandatory in the sense like if you are planning now, like you are our friends, right? So once in a month you are planning to go somewhere else, like outing, adu idu ella. So that is like a mandatory one. A mandatory coffee date, a mandatory shopping date. அது கட்டாயமா once a month உள்ளுக்கு நடக்கணும். அது நீங்களே போட்டுக்கிட்ட ஒரு rule நமக்கு like yeah, we can say rules and regulation, but it is something that is like different, but like compulsory. It should happen compulsory. Yes. So that is like mandatory reporting. So mandatory reporting in the sense, if there is an abuse you see from your eyes, you have to report it. Report it has been mandatory. கட்டாயமா report பண்ணணும், like that. Okay. So, what are child protection laws? Child protection laws are legal rules and regulations designed to protect children from abuse, neglect, exploitation, and harm. So, child protection laws are rules and regulations designed to protect children from abuse. Exploitation, in the sense, I have given you. Wait. Oh, what happened? Here, exploitation is the act of treating someone unfairly. Act of treating someone unfairly. So neglect in the sense, just imagine a child coming with untidy, unclean clothes. So that is like neglect, okay, and harm. So these laws ensure that every child is safe, cared for, and treated with dignity, while also defining the responsibility of parents, teachers, caregiver, and authorities. So child protection in the sense, it is the rule.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can't see, ma'am.
Wait. Sorry. Now, okay.
Yes, ma'am, can see.
So, child protection laws is rules and regulation designed to protect children, right? So, from abuse, neglect, exploitation, and harm. So, main purposes of child protection laws: protect children from emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. So, what is physical abuse? Hmm. 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 Like that. So, what is emotional abuse? Emotional like பண்றது avoid பண்றது like அது. So sexual abuse you of course know. So prevent neglect when a child basic needs like food, shelter, education, or health care are not met. So safeguard children from exploitation, trafficking, and harmful labor. So ensure children rights, welfare, and safety. Provide legal action against those who harm children. So those are some main purpose of child protection laws. So key areas of protections. So laws are generally divided into these major categories. Protection from abuse and neglect. Statutes mandate the reporting and investigation of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. They empower local authorities to remove a child from a dangerous environment. So, labor and exploitation laws. Regulation prohibit child labor, restrict working hours, types of work for minors, and criminalize child trafficking, prostitution, and forced labor. So, juvenile justice. Do you know what juvenile justice? Juvenile justice is like it's a law. It's a kind of law. So, you can go home and search for that juvenile justice. So, guidelines ensure that children interacting with the legal system are treated with age-appropriate rehabilitation and kept separate from adult offenders. Custody, adoption, and care. Legal procedures that dictate foster care, adoption, and the rights of children in institutional settings. Custody. Yeah, that is like custody. Taking the rights of the children. So these are some key areas of protection, like protection law, we can say. So first one is protection from abuse and neglect. So there are some laws and there are some kinds of acts that is like protection from abuse and neglect. So if you have children or if you are like uh, working in the Montessori or anything, you have to protect them from abuse and neglect as well. So labor and exploitation laws. So in labor, in the sense, the people where working, the officers, companies, there also must be this abuse and neglect as well. So and juvenile justice. So juvenile justice is a legal system that is treating with age appropriate rehabilitation, right? So juvenile justice is that. So custody, adaptation, and care in the sense those legal processes, which is like foster care, adaptation, and rights of children in institutional settings. So அபியூஸ்க்கும் நெக்லெக்ட்க்கும் வந்திருந்தா இதுக்கு வேறையா தனிப்பட்ட லோ இருக்கு. லேபல் அண்ட் எக்ஸ்பிளேஷன் லோஸ்னு வந்தா அதுக்கு வேறையா தனிப்பட்ட இது இருக்கு. ஜூர்னலி ஜஸ்டிஸ்னு வந்தா அதுக்கு வேறையா இருக்கு, and custody adaptation and care வரும்போது அதுக்கு வேறையா laws இருக்கு. So those everything comes under child protection laws, right? So global and foundational principles. Most child protection legislation worldwide is rooted in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which outlines four core principles. So this is like global, okay? Not only like in one country, global, all over the countries. So non-discrimination. So what is discrimination? Discrimination. I have taught you that. You can remember? No. No. So, discrimination in the sense age, gender. Now, can you remember? You can't measure a people by age, gender. Yeah. ஞாபகம் இருக்கு, ஞாபகம் இல்லையா? போயிட்டு பாருங்க. So, best interest of the child. What? What you have written? I can remember. So, best interest of the child. Decision must prioritize what is best for the child's development and safety. Right to life, survival, and development. Governments and caregivers must ensure a child has access to basic needs, healthcare, and education. Right to be heard. Children have the right to express their views on matters affecting them. So these are some global and foundational principles which are from UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, right? So non-discrimination in the sense these protection laws are equal for every child. So it's not apart from the age, gender, your background, and everything. This non-discrimination law is like equal to everyone. ಅಂದಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ. Yeah, okay. So best interest in the sense, so you all must prioritize what is best for child development and safety, right? So when it comes to right to life, survival, and development, so you have to make sure that your child has access to these basic needs, health care, and education. So what is basic needs? Or human தேவையானது basic needs. You all don't know humans' basic needs. Food. Shelter. So home, food, shelter, food, water. These girls don't know what human basic needs. So can you remember that you all learn about needs and wants? So what are needs and wants? பதினஞ்சு வருஷத்துக்கு முத படிச்சது கேக்குறேன். Education, okay. ஆமா, okay. Expenses, income, yeah. There's nothing on the book. Wants and online students, what is needs and wants? Hmm. Food. So if a food is a need, what is a want from that? Huh. So that's what I'm asking. Needs and wants. What are like needs and wants? After this, remind me to write about needs and wants. And basic needs. So child protection laws in Sri Lanka. So in Sri Lanka, child protection laws. So in Sri Lanka, child protection is governed by a network of specialized legislation, strict penal codes, and dedicated regulatory bodies that mandate the immediate protection of children under 18 years of age. So what are regulatory bodies? It is on the lecture 20. What is like birth certificates? No, that is regular bodies. That is in lecture 2. Yeah, I guess so. Or 21. It's 20, yeah. So child care regulatory bodies enforce safety standard, licensing, staff to child ratios, and child protection laws in early childhood education. So what are regulatory bodies? What includes in the regulatory bodies? Staff to child ratios, right? So those are some regulatory bodies. So if you are a childcare provider or administrator in Sri Lanka, the following primary laws define your illegal obligations. So number first is the National Child Protection Authority Act number 15 of 1998. The second one is the Penal Code. Third one is Children and Young Persons Ordinance and Amendments. Fourth one is operational regulations of child care centers. So these are some kinds of child protection laws in Sri Lanka. So we'll see what is the National Child Protection Authority Act number. Yeah, no, after 80. Yeah. So the National Child Protection Authority Act number 50 of 1998. This is a foundational framework that established the National Child Protection Authority as the central regulatory body for child safety. So this is the main, this is the first one, this is the initial one of which established by National Child Protection Authority as the central regulatory body for child safety. Okay, so now what is regulatory bodies? Safety standards, child staff to child ratios, no, child protection laws. Of course, you can't say like protection, only protection. So, and the licensing thing as well, right? So, yeah. So it has to be like childcare regulatory bodies include safety standards, licensing, and staff to child ratios and child protection laws in early childhood care and care settings like that. So the purpose of this act is formulates national policy on child protection and coordinates all active intervention against child abuse. Right? So the purpose of this act is formulates the national policy on child protection and coordinate all active interventions against child abuse. So, like actions எடுக்க முடியுமோ child abuse in the act you can take it, right? So this is the purpose of this act. So this act is the National Child Protection Authority Act number 50. Ah, yeah. Call Act number 50 of 1998. So actionable enforcement. So the NCPA operates a dedicated, confidential 24-hour national child helpline, which is 1929, to receive immediate reports of child abuse, neglect, or exploitation directly from the public or institutional staff. So if you are in a place where is something like abuse or any kind of neglect or any kind of exploitations you can see, you can report to 24 hours National Child Helpline, which is 1929. Right? So any doubts on this act? These four acts are very yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'll put that. Okay. So any doubts on this act? Online students?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, but adults, this is about like a child protection authority, no? So this is like from infant to adolescence, which is like 0 to 18. Yeah, 0 to 18. This act is only contains to 0 to 18, the age group. So if you are like adult க்கு வந்து வேற acts இருக்கும். But you can take a help from this helpline. 1928 நீங்க வந்து கம்ப்ளைண்ட் பண்ணா அவங்க வந்து அவங்க கம்ப்ளைண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க because they have contacts no in this, so they will like complain அப்படி. So the penal code. Sri Lanka criminal law contains severe explicit penalties for offences committed against children. So section 308A, cruelty to children. You know what cruelty, right? What is cruelty? Online students, what is known as cruelty? Cruel, what is cruel? But what is the mean? Uh, Forcing, no. Cruel. Cruel in the sense the child is like very aggressive. இப்போ ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷனை பார்த்து அந்த child is very becoming aggressive. Aggressive என்ன like கோவப்படுறது அப்படி.
அதிக கோபம்.
So section 308A criminalize the willful assault, ill treatment, neglect or abandonment of any child by a person who has their custody or care. It imposes mandatory prison sentence for violators. So it cruelty to children in the sense, so if they are like in the home itself, if they are like the physical abuse and emotional abuse, இப்போ ஒரு வீட்ல வந்து அது physical abuse, emotional abuse எல்லாமே நடந்தா, that is like cruelty. It comes under section 308A, right? So that is like section 308. Section 286C, due to report, specifically states that any individual who has control or charge of a premises, such as child care facility or school, and knows child abuse is occurring on that premises must immediately inform the officer in charge of the nearest police station. Failure to report this knowledge is a criminal offense punishable by up to 2 years in prison. இப்போ உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு நர்சரி இருந்தா அந்த நர்சரியில அந்த அபியூஸ் நடக்குதுன்னு உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் தானே. அது நடக்க நடக்க நீங்க விட்டிருந்தா, அப்பவே ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணாம நீங்க விட்டிருந்தா, உங்களுக்கு எப்பயாவது லைக் யாராவது அதை பார்த்து யாராவது போலீஸ்க்கு கம்ப்ளைண்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க தானே. அப்படி கம்ப்ளைண்ட் பண்ணா உங்களுக்கு வந்து 2 years in presence இருக்க வரும், ஜெயில 2 years இருக்க வரும். So that is like section 286C. Yeah, physical, emotional, we can say. Sexual also we can say, but we have to give the main priority to physical abuse and emotional abuse in the houses. Here, of any child by a person who has their custody or care. Who has their custody or care. Custody or care in the sense most probably their family. Right? So second one is that. And third one is corporal punishment protections. Moving strictly in line with international human rights, recent sweeping reforms via the Penal Code Amendment Bill completely prohibit and criminalize all forms of cruel, degrading physical or psychological punishment against anyone under 18 in both schools and care institutions. So this is like in whether in school or in classes. So if there are taking any physical abuses or like any mental torture பண்றது இருக்குதானே. Physical abuse பண்றதும் emotional abuse பண்றதும் mental torture பண்றது இருக்குதானே. So that is like in this this is that law. So corporal punishment protection, right? So this comes under the penal code. Okay, any doubts? குழப்பமா? So the third one is Children and Young Person Ordinance. The Children and Young Person Ordinance set out how the judicial system interact with vulnerable children. So what is that judicial system? No, sir, what is judicial system? Online students, what is judicial system?
No, ma'am. Don't know.
judicial system in the sense இப்போ ஒரு கேஸ் வந்து நாங்க கோர்ட்க்கு போறோம் தானே கோர்ட்க்கு like we are dragging that to the court, right? That is like judicial system. ஒரு கேஸ் வந்து கோர்ட்க்கு போயிட்டு சால்வ் ஆகுறது is known as judicial system. தீர்ப்பு கிடைக்கிறது, justice கிடைக்கிறது. So juvenile justice and welfare establish the operational framework of juvenile courts and specify child care facility regulations. So recent updates under the Children and Young Persons Amendment, Act number 39 of 2022, the law officially raised protection age limits and reinforcement that children can never be in prison, prioritizing prohibition, care, and psychological rehabilitation over detention. So it's in the sense, so for those abuse cases and everything, so this is like Children and Young Person Act number 39 of 2022. So this law officially raised protection age limits, okay, and reinforced that children can never be imprisoned at the age of like before the age of 18. We can't put them into a prison. அதுக்கு அப்புறம் yeah ஜெயில போட மாட்டேன். So those are some of the places that they are putting those child, like you do you know homes Purutha. That like that Purutha. So this is the third one, and the last one is operational regulations for child care workers. If you operate a preschool or daycare, you must legally adhere to national guidelines and minimum standards of child care development centers and national policy on daycare facilities managed by the Ministry of Women and Child Affairs. So these establish strict background checks for staff, mandatory child-to-staff ratio, and zero tolerance policies for physical discipline. So operational regulations for child care workers in the sense, if you are operating, if you are doing a child care or daycare or a nursery, there are some strict national guidelines and minimum standard of child development centers that you have to know, right? So there are some sort of rules and regulations that you have to know when you are doing the daycare, nursery, or like a preschool. Okay, so that is like operational regulations of child care workers. So what is the first law of the Sri Lankan law? Huh? So now I taught you about 4 laws of Sri Lanka. I'm asking what is the first one? Yeah, but you have to write the law. Adane. Child protection. So now child welfare. So child welfare refers to the overall well-being, safety, and healthy development of children. So child welfare refers to overall well-being, safety, and healthy development of children, right? So what is like healthy development? It focuses on ensuring that children grow up in a safe, supporting, and nurturing environment where their physical, emotional, social, and educational needs are met. Right? So, child welfare is about protecting children and helping them live healthy and happy lives. Right? So, child care refers to overall well being, safety, and healthy development in children. Right? So child welfare includes physical well-being, emotional well-being, education and development, protection from harm, and social well-being, right? So when it comes to physical well-being, it's about the proper nutrition, good health care, safe shelter, protection from illness or injury. Your home or the apartment or any kind of building that you are living under, right? So just imagine that you are living in office. So the shelter is the office for you, right? So that's like so. Yeah. So when it comes to emotional well-being, it is about love, care, and emotional support, and feeling safe and secure, and positive relationship with family and caregiver, right? So when it comes to education and development, it is about access to education, opportunities to learn and develop skills, support for mental and health, social growth, right? So when it comes to protection from harm, it's about protection from abuse, neglect, exploitation, and violence, right? So when it violence, violence, violence in the sense those fightings and everything. Yeah. Huh? So when it comes to social well-being, it's opportunities to interact with others, inclusion in family, school and community activities. So when it comes to child welfare, what does it includes? Physical well-being, emotional well-being, education, protection from harm, social well-being. 5, right? So why child welfare is important? Child welfare helps children grow. How? Emotionally is in the sense those physical and negative emotions you have. So how can we connect that into social? So social is like interacting, group works and everything. So how can you? So child welfare helps children grow into healthy and confident adults, develop emotionally, socially, and intellectually, reach their full potential. And it helps to reach their full potential, right? Where did we buy this from? Yeah, no, I need a small cup like this size of cup. Really? So does that like contains the hot? I want like a small cups which contains like very hot and very cold. So children rights. So right to safety, right to education, right to healthcare, right to protection from abuse. These are some children rights. So there are some laws also for those children rights and all, but I didn't include in this because it would take much more information to ahead today. So that's why I didn't put it today for here. And when it comes to children rights, it's not like much like important. So that's why. So right to safety, right to education, right to healthcare, right to protection from abuse. There are 4 child rights. So there is some child rights in the sense like so protection rights, survival rights. I can't remember. There are like about 4 rights to those children. So I taught them to use this. Yeah. What? Uh, uh, Survival rights, development rights, protection rights, and participation rights. Now, ಇದು போடல but information கூட ஆகின்றானே, so that's in the sense நம்ம போடல. So like 4 main categories இருக்கு: survival, development, protection, and participation. Protection வேற. So survival right in the sense is about like basic needs like food, water, shelter, health care, and about it. Survival rights in the sense some basic needs, right? So development rights in the sense their education, play, and their opportunities to learn and grow. Play and opportunities to learn and grow. So protection rights in the sense abuse, neglect, exploitation, those. Huh? Abuse. So protection right, participation right. Yeah. Survival, development, protection, participation. What? Abuse. You don't know what abuse? Yeah.
Development, survival, protection, and
Participation.
protection is an
Abuse வரும். Yeah. So participation in the sense it's allowed children to express their thought, feelings. Thought, feelings, and opinions. What activity? Yeah, end of the session. End of. Why? So, mandatory reporting. Mandatory reporting is a legal obligation that requires specific professional and sometimes all citizens to immediately report known as suspected instance of abuse, neglect, or harm to vulnerable individuals. It is a critical safety net used across various sectors worldwide. So mandatory reporting in the sense when there is abuse, when there is neglect or harm to individuals, you have to report it, right? Who is a mandatory reporter? So mandatory reporters are typically individuals who, by the nature of their position, have frequent or regular contact with the vulnerable populations. So while laws vary by region, Mandated reporters generally include healthcare professionals, which is doctors, nurses, psychologists, and therapists, educational professionals, teachers, school counselors, and principals, child care and youth service workers, social workers and welfare workers, law enforcement personnel. So, in some jurisdictions, the law mandates that all adults must report suspected abuse, right? So, a mandatory reporter is a healthcare profession or like an educational profession or a child and youth service worker and social worker and welfare worker. Any kind of worker you have to like report, right? If you are like suspecting an abuse, you have to report. கட்டாயமா report பண்ண. That is like mandatory report. Clear? Online students, is there any doubt up to now?
No, ma'am, can understand.
So what must be reported? The obligation generally requires reporting when there is a reasonable belief or reasonable suspicion of harm. This covers a variety of issues including child abuse and neglect, physical, sexual, and emotional abuse, as well as failure to provide basic needs, elders and vulnerable adult abuse, physical harm, financial exploitations, or severe neglect within aged care or psychiatric facilities. Interpersonal violence. In some regions, health care and welfare providers are mandated to report instances of domestic or intimate partner violence. Right? So, elder and vulnerable adult abuse and like it's also like compulsory. இல்ல இல்ல அப்படி ஏதாவது கட்டாயமா நடந்தா ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணணும். ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணணும். So what must be reported in the sense child abuse and neglects, elder and vulnerable adult abuse, interpersonal violence. So if this is happen, if you suspect any of these, you have to report, right? So that is like mandatory reporting and what must be reported. Who must report? Teachers, childcare workers, healthcare professionals, and social workers. Reporting process and repercussions. So repercussions, I give the so repercussions in the sense the return action, right, are the indirect or unexpected efforts results on consequences of an action. Return action. So when mandated reporters from a reasonable suspicious, they must report the information to the appropriate authorities, such as Child Protection Agency or local police, as soon as practically possible. So penalties. Failure to report when required is a criminal offense which can result in heavy fines or jail time depending on the jurisdiction, right? So reporting process and repercussions in the sense which is come to penalties. Penalties in the sense if you are like seeing if you are like seeing abuse and not complaining to them, completing to the local police or anything, when that case go to the courts, they will know that you didn't report this. For that reason, they will give you a fine. உங்களுக்கு fine கிடைக்கும் plus 2 years jail. Right? So, legal protections. Mandatory reporters are usually granted legal immunity from civil or criminal liability for making a report in good faith. So these are some reporting process and repercussions. Child abuse. So child abuse is any action or failure to act that causes harm, injury, or emotional suffering to a child. Right? It happens when a child is mistreated, neglected, or exploited by a parent, caregiver, or another person. So child abuse affects the child's physical, emotional, and mental well-being and can have long-lasting effects. Type of child abuse: physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect. Physical abuse. Neglect. So when it comes to physical abuse, physical harm or injury caused to a child such as like hitting, kicking, burning, shaking, causing physical injury. So emotional abuse, actions that harm a child's self-esteem or emotional health, such as constant criticism, discrimination, criticism, threatening, humiliating, rejecting, ignoring the child. Constant criticism in the sense you are like telling them about their age, gender, and in Tamil we can say like அவமானப்படுத்துறது அப்படி அந்த தன்னோட ஏஜை வச்சு தன்னோட ஜெண்டரை வச்சு லைக் பேக்ரவுண்டை வச்சு like that one. So sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is when person forces, pressures, or involves another person in sexual activities without their consent. So threatening is like blackmailing. So when it involves a child, it is any sexual behavior or contact with a child because children cannot legally or emotionally give consent. So it is a serious form of abuse that can cause physical, emotional, and psychological harm. Right? So sexual abuse, of course, no, right? You all know about sexual abuse. Sexual abuse can include inappropriate touching of private body parts, forcing a child to touch another person in a sexual way, showing sexual images or videos to a child, making sexual comments or inappropriate conversation, exposing private body parts to a child, forcing or pressuring a child into sexual activity, exploiting a child online for sexual purposes. Right? So these are some points that sexual abuse can include. Signs of sexual abuse may include sudden fear of certain people or places, changes in behavior or mood, withdrawal, anxiety, or depression, age-appropriate sexual knowledge or behavior, difficulty sleeping or nightmares, unexplained injuries or discomfort. So these are some Signs of sexual abuse that you can see in a girl. Of course, a girl, yeah. Effects of sexual abuse. It can lead to emotional trauma, fear and anxiety, low self esteem, trust issues, depression, and difficulty with relationships later in life. Right? So, those are some effects. Role of teachers and childcare workers. They should be alert to warning signs, listen carefully if a child speaks about abuse, stay calm and supportive, report concerns to the proper authorities immediately, follow child protection procedures. Those are some role of teachers and childcare workers. Neglect. Neglect is the failure to provide a child with basic care, supervision, and support needed for their health, safety, and development. It happens when a parent, caregiver, or responsible adult does not meet a child's essential needs either intentionally or by failing to act. So, neglect is the failure to provide the child with the basic care, right? Like their parents doesn't provide the health, like safety and development of course, right? So that is known as neglect. So effects of neglect. Neglect can cause poor physical health, emotional difficulties, learning problems, self-low esteem, and delayed growth and development. I don't have a word to explain. So neglect can cause neglect can cause poor physical health, emotional difficulties, learning problems, low self-esteem, and delayed growth in development. Right. So these are some factors that affects neglect. Signs of neglect may include poor hygiene, dirty or inappropriate clothing, frequent hunger, constant tiredness, frequent absences from school, lack of medical care, delayed development, being left alone with supervision, right? So these are some signs of neglect that you can see in a child. Procedures of suspected cases in childcare. The standard procedures of handling suspected cases in a childcare setting depend entirely on whether you are dealing with suspected child abuse or neglect or a suspected infectious medical illnesses. So now do you know about child abuse and neglect, right? So what is like suspected infectious medical illnesses? அந்த மாதிரி வார்த்தைகள். So, procedures for suspected child abuse or neglect. When childcare staff suspect a child is a victim of abuse, abandonment, or neglect, they must act immediately as mandated reports. So, ensure immediate safety. If the child is in immediate physical danger, dial local emergency services or the police immediately. Right? So, document observation facility. So, write down precious Objective observations include date, time, behavioral change, or visible physical marks. So if you are like suspecting, please do take a book, write the time, write the date, and write physical signs, such as now I told you over the signs, right? Signs and effects of it. So you can note down it and give it later to the police, right? So avoid investigating. Do not interview the child extensively or confront the parents, guardians, as this can compromise a professional legal investigation. So don't go and interview the child, right? So whenever the child comes up to you and to speak, you just speak. You just motivate them, right? Don't go to interview. Okay. So report to safeguarding lead. Inform your facility designated safeguarding officer or supervisor immediately, right? So you have to inform your facilities head first, and after that, only you can go to the police and everything, right? So contact Child Protective Services. File a formal confidential report with local service or child welfare authorities. As I say, put the date, put the time, put the signs and everything of the child, and what child comes up to you to speak, write those things in a point form. Child say me this, she had been like this for 2 weeks. This incident has been done in here in Colombo 7, write those some facts, and give that to police. Now, okay, so those are some of the procedures you have to do from your side for a child abuse or neglect, right? Procedures for suspected infectious illnesses. When a child shows symptoms of a contagious medical condition, for example, hand, foot, and mouth disease, measles, or meningitis, settings must balance care with infection controls. So, do you know about measles and meningitis? So, what is meningitis? So, isolate the child. Move the child to a designated quiet room away from the other children while maintain adult supervision. So if the child is like diagnosed by this like hand, foot, and mouth disease and measles and meningitis, please keep away from take the child to another room with an adult supervision, right? You have to keep a teacher there for him to explain, right? So notify parents, guard. Call the emergency contacts immediately to arrange a swift pickup from the childcare facility. So this is about you have to call their parents, right? So provide confirm comfort and monitor. Keep the child comfortable, record their body temperature, and document any shifting symptoms. So sanitize the environment. Deep clean and disinfect all toys, surfaces, bedding, and areas of the interacted with. So you have to sanitize the environment he was with. Okay. Alert public health authorities. Report the incident to a local health protection team if the suspected illness is a legally notifiable disease. If is that a disease, you have to inform the who is that? Not Gram Sevakal. MOH. MOH. PHI. PHI. You have to inform. So this is measles here. Measles is a highly contagious, serious airborne. அந்த மாதிரி பட் அதுக்கு விட இது டேஞ்சரஸ். இல்ல இல்ல சிக்கன் பாக்ஸ் தான் பட் இது வந்து லைக் இட்ஸ் வெரி 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 டேஞ்சரஸ் அந்த மாதிரி தான் வரும். So meningitis is life-threatening inflammation of the membranes and fluid surrounding your brain and spinal cord. So this is like in here. This is like a fluid contained in your brain this is your brain. So in here, it's a brain, like it goes up to like this into the spinal cord itself, like this, right? So from the edge, this is like the edge. From this, it comes up to this foot, like into here. And the fluid upper D is spread out to both. So that is like meningitis. Huh? I don't think, I'm not too sure about it. So role of child care workers. So when child abuse or neglect is suspected with the child care setting, child care providers must step into four primary roles to protect the child and uphold the law. So mandatory to report it. Legal duty. You must report any reasonable suspicions of abuse directly to Child Protective Services or law enforcement. Okay. So immediate timeline. Reports typically must be made immediately by phone, followed by the written report within 24 to 36 hours. Right? So report நீங்க only report பண்றீங்களா நீங்க phone மூலமா report பண்ண இயலும். And if you are like submitting a written report, which I said, yeah, so that written report you can submit within 24 to 36 hours after the incident happens, right? So individual liability. The legal obligation rests on your personally. A supervisor can better or stop you from making a report. Immunity protection. The law protects reporters from civil or criminal liabilities if the report was made in good faith, even if the investigation later finds no abuse. So these are some facts that you have to report as a mandated reporter. Fact-based documenter. So provides acts as objective historical witnesses to ensure child protection agency have clear evidence. Objective notes. Write down exactly what you see and hear using neutral behavior languages. For example, child has a 2-inch red mark on left cheek, not child was hit, right? If you are reporting, you have to write like this. Child has 2-inch red mark on left cheek, right? So child has 2-inch red mark on left cheek. So that child has been sexually abused. You have to write what you see and hear on the written report. So whatever the report you are going to give to the police, you have to write like this. Child has 2-inch red mark on the left cheek. Child has like 4-inch red mark in here, like in the best level. You have to write like this. Okay, so verbatim cuts. Record the child exact words using quotation marks without rephrasing or translating their language. So you have to write whatever the child is saying, the exact words that should be there. அதே மாதிரி எழுதணும். No interpretation. Avoid adding personal opinions, diagnosis, psychological theories, or assumptions about who caused the injury. Now, for the report, you can't put your personal opinions or any kind of psychological theories to that report. It should be only the child's saying, right? Immediate protector and comforter. The provider's immediate daily role is to keep the child physically safe and emotionally supported. Reassurance. Reassure the child that they are safe and they did nothing wrong by speaking up. Right? You have to reassure. You have to feel that that child is secure and protected. Right? No integration. Listen actively but do not ask leading questions, interview the child or cross-examine them, as this can ruin legal evidence. Physical safety. Ensure the child is not left alone with any individual suspected of causing harm with the facility. So these are some immediate protector and comforter. Okay, so you have to make that child very comfort, very secure, and you can't leave that child alone. Like whenever the case is happening in a facility, in the daycare or the nursery or the preschool, you can't leave the child alone, and you have to reassure them, like by saying you did nothing wrong. We will all take care of you. Don't be afraid, don't be anything to worry. We are here for you. Like that we have to say. We have to reassure, right? Privacy guardian. Maintaining strict confidentiality is vital to protect the child's dignity and integrity of the legal investigation. So, no confrontation. Do not confront the parents, guardians, or accused co-workers about your suspicions. So, need to know sharing. Discuss the situation only with your facility designated safeguarding lead, child welfare investigators, or law enforcement. So keep all written logs, photos, and incident reports in a log file or password protected digital folder away from general staff assessors. So these are some of like you have to follow this privacy guardian, right? So you can't share this personal information with anyone. You have to like keep them in a private place and or in like password protected digital somewhat, so like that. So legal frameworks. Role of authorities. Investigate reports, protect children, provide support services, right? So from the authorities, they can they what they can do is investigate reports and protect children and provide support services as well, right? Legal consequences of failing to report. Legal action, professional misconduct, risk to child safety. And importance of compliance, protects children, maintain professional responsibility. Huh? Misconduct in the sense like you are going to conduct something and that doesn't happen. நீங்க ஏதாவது ஒண்ணு லைக் ஒரு கிளாஸ கண்டக்ட் பண்ண போறீங்க, ஒரு கிளாஸ் செய்ய போறீங்க இன்னைக்கு, அது உங்களால பண்ண முடியாது. அது இட் மிஸ்ட். Safeguarding practices. Creating safe childcare environments. Supervision, safety policies, positive relationships. So, staff training in child protection. Regular safeguarding training, updated legal knowledge. So those are some safeguarding practices from child abuse and neglect as well, right? That's it for today. One more here. Any doubts? Online students, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Now you can do the activity 1. Mm. Mm. Practical. Yeah. Um, Still good. Umesha, I'll send it now.
Okay, ma'am.
You can take the break, online students. Riska and Umesha,
Okay, ma'am.
come back at
Okay, ma'am.
12:30. Be there.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Those who didn't do the activity 1 and 2, you can do that and send me to the group. And you are Umesha Shimla Riska. You didn't send me the yesterday's activity, which I sent you through a Word document afterwards. So you didn't send me those. Shimla, you also.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, please do that and send me as well.
Okay, ma'am.
Shimla, are you coming tomorrow, physical class?
Yes.
And I will share the practical things. So there is some, you can make posters or else you can make flashcards as well. Online students, you also listen to this because you also have to do in your own home and paste it in the notebook. Okay, so this is an individual practical activity that you have to do tomorrow. So for that, be prepared with whistle boards or whatever you are using, and scissors, color patignums, color pencils, and those kinds of pictures and everything. So I will send you the, yeah, send you the practical activities into the group. So you, from that you can select one. Okay, so I have uploaded in that practical activity document, I have uploaded some example pictures also. So you can see that as well and pick one and let me know today evening. Okay, so Shimla, please bring whatever you want for tomorrow. I mean, those whistle boards and everything. So, and or else you can use, apart from whistle board, you can use also A4s as well, right? So I'll share the practical activity document with you all now. So you can look after that and tell me what you will be choosing. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hmm. Whatever the timetable, ma'am, it's changed or not?
No, it's not. Because someone has complained to the management. So
Okay.
it's not.
ஷுவர்லி நான் ஒன்றுமே சொல்லலை மேம். நானும்
Anyway,
உமேஷா தான் ஆன்லைன் ஸ்டூடெண்ட். நாங்கள் ஒன்றுமே சொல்லலை.
okay, okay. No,
ஓகே
no.
மேம்.
Okay.
ம்.
So if there's anything, do you have any doubt on this module 1? So from today onwards, the module 1 is finished. Okay, so from next week, the module 2 is starting. So for this module 1, is there any doubt from any lessons that you want to clear up with me? Just refer your notes and do let me know if there's any complaint. Sorry, if there's any complaint or if there's any doubt to clear for you. Online students, Umesha and Riska.
Yes, ma'am.
I have uploaded the activity document into the group. I mean, practically activity.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
you can see that and select one and tell me.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am, I take healthy meal plan 5 days.
The main plan. Just give me a minute. I'll write it
Okay.
down.
Okay, ma'am.
Can you give me a pen? ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ. Post. Can you tell me the number post activity? 2, right? Riska?
Yes, ma'am.
Healthy meal plan.
Yes.
Hmm? Okay, Riska. Now, what about Umesh? What about Shimla?
One, ma'am. Post
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
poster number one activity that
Okay, so child wellness plan.
yes.
So Mesha and Riska, you can probably place it in your wall and everything by making this. So you can remember what you have to give to your children and
ഇത് രണ്ടാമത്തെ പോസ്റ്റ്
You can take printouts, or you can draw, or you can take printouts, and that's up to you. This is summa or example picture da. There you can't go and do. Priska,
Yes,
Anuvesha,
ma'am.
this is like an example picture.
Okay, ma'am.
You have to create your own one.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right.
Miss,
Yes.
how many flashcards?
Flashcards in the sense about the topic. So if you are like
common childhood conditions, other one the flash card might and
at the common, yeah. அதுல வந்து you can do like இப்போ அஸ்மா இருக்கு தானே, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அவங்க அந்த பிக்சரை ஒட்டி வச்சுட்டு செகண்ட் வந்து வாட் இஸ் இட் காமன் சயின்ஸ் அப்படி போடலாம். ஃப்ரண்ட் பார்ட் கவர் போட்டு பேக் பார்ட் எழுதலாம். பட் இதே இல்ல, வேற உங்கள்கிட்ட ஃப்ரம் யோர் ஓன் வேர்ட்ஸ். வாட் ஷிம்லா?
எத்தனை ஃபிளாஷ் கார்ட்ஸ் அப்படி செய்யறேன்னு சொன்னா செய்ய வேணும்?
இப்ப நான் கொடுத்திருக்கேன் தானே ஃபிளாஷ் கார்ட்ஸ் லைக் சம் 3 6 கொடுத்திருக்கேன் ஃபார் நியூட்ரிஷன் அண்ட் மீல் பிளானிங். ஃபார் காமன் சைல்ட்ஹுட் ஹெல்த் கண்டிஷன்ஸும் 6 கொடுத்திருக்கேன். ஸோ அந்த 6க்கு பில லைக் யூ கேன் மேக் அரவுண்ட் 10. I mean 10 topics. So if you are like going to paste one front one and back one, it's around like 20 flashcards. Can you remember? Yeah. So 10 into 2 is like 20. Yeah. So flashcards in the sense you can make into any size. Like you can so if you are making like flashcards, it is like very impressive. That's what I say. Now
Ma'am,
Yes.
நாளைக்கு வந்து இப்போ நாங்கள் எல்லா ஐட்டம்ஸும் கொண்டுட்டு வந்து செய்கிறதா மேம் இல்லாட்டி ஆல்ரெடி ப்ரிப்பேர் ஆகிட்டு செஞ்சுட்டு வரணுமா?
இல்ல கிளாஸ்ல தான் செய்யணும். லைக் நீங்க
கிளாஸில்.
விசில் போர்ட்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் ரெடியா வச்சுக்கோங்க. கிளாஸ்ல செய்யணும்.
ஓகே.
And you can leave if you're done.
ஓகே.
Okay, bye.
I have done, ma'am. I am leaving. Bye. Take care.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.